了解。
If you were to ask me to describe 2021, I'd say that it feels like the start of a new era. Fittingly so, as what some consider the first year of a new decade, and in the anime sphere, that sentiment sticks so much. With Attack on Titan wrapping up soon, it seems that the big hitters from the old guard from the 2010s have come and gone, or shifted to movies like SAO. Then there's legacy stuff like the upcoming Bleach and Shaman King that prove that sometimes old stuff just doesn't go out of flavor for too long. That's why for today, I want to feature some of the best new hits that 2021 had given us in the realm of action anime. Who knows, maybe these new contenders will end up shaping the future generation in this coming decade. With that in mind, I'll be excluding sequels from the list, so sorry, Slime and Demon Slayer. Let's start with Kemono Jihen. Being a fan of a supernatural fantasy series, you bet I did check out Kemono Jihen. Coming out of it, I'd echo the sentiment of the show's fans and say that this is quite the criminally underrated shonen. It's got a lot of flags that appeal to me, giving me a bit of that Bungo Stray Dogs or Inspector vibe, but as I'd learn, it's much more of a character-driven show. I came in for the supernatural action involving demons and humans, but I found myself more captivated with the characters and how their dynamic just kept getting better the longer the show went on. The characters have genuine chemistry with one another, and if the fighting didn't convince you, perhaps the growth and the bonds that the characters exhibit will. Overall, I can see why Kemono Jihen got overshadowed by other action shows, especially in the season it was in. You know, the one with an Attack on Titan season, Mushoku Tensei Slime and a ReZero season, but all things considered, it's an underrated gem that you'll have a blast watching.
それではさよならだ。行くわよ。
Next, we have Tsukimichi. Parody isekai have the distinction of often being compared to the most popular of them all. Konosuba and Tsukimichi are no exception. I think that it's an apt comparison, yet at the same time, I think that Tsukimichi has a lot of merits that allow it to stand out in its own right. What are those merits? It's the way in which it combines a lot of familiar tropes, channels meme energy in them like Konosuba, and comes out as something surprisingly refreshing and fun to watch. There's order in mayhem, and this comedic series just embodies that saying so well. It's a chill show with a lot of crazy moments that captures the fun and appealing aspects of several isekai. If you're intent on taking a break from the very intense fights in power fantasies like Slime and you prefer something a bit more chill and comedic, then this could be the isekai for you. For our next entry, we take a look at Ida-den deities. An old adage goes that you shall not judge an anime by its art alone. Yes, the art makes a strong impression and helps you temper expectations, but we've got a lot of hidden gems behind very simplistic looking appearances. Anyone expected Odd Taxi to take the world by storm? How about Osama ranking? In the action side of things, I'll gladly apply that to Ida-den deities. What I expected to be a very quirky and light-hearted action comedy ended up being one of my go-to shows for unwinding. It's got Mappa at the helm, and it's from the same guy who brought us the most cultured modern anime in interspecies reviewers. Yep, there's a lot to like. It's got violence, ecchi, and all that wild stuff that some of you who like that more daring aspect of anime would also like. A pure, fun, and turn your brains off show is what I'd normally say, but at the end of it all, it'd be unfair to just write it off as purely style over substance. Come on, a gacha game anime doesn't have any right to be this good, but by God, they did it. Takt Destiny is the action series that starts off in full throttle and doesn't let go. Its premise seems to be your everyday mobile game plot of a protagonist commanding a harem of girls to fight interdimensional invaders or the like, but so far it's managed to hit the mark in a lot of ways. I find myself enjoying the plot, the protagonist's dynamic with the girls, and the simplicity and honesty of it all. It acknowledges its identity, and while it doesn't have the most original story beats besides its incorporation of classical music in a battle-heavy series, it goes on in an engaging manner, further proving my belief that it's execution that matters the most. Oh, and before we go ahead, I'd like to ask you for your help in growing the channel. How can you do it? Well, the subscribe button up there takes less than a second to click, and it's going to help the channel so much. Starting off the post-break, we have 86. I can't be the only one who first picked 86 because of Lena, am I? And guess what? I got way more than I bargained for. 86 overall is a strong show that got me very invested. It's got the action, the mecha, and the political themes that strike quite close to home given the circumstances of the world. It's a show that drastically tugged on my heartstrings en route to the first part's ending, and the second part brought the series back even stronger. Cliffhangers galore kept me waiting for weeks on end, and the tribulations that the main cast go through make this an extremely engaging watch that I definitely recommend to anyone. It's got some strong themes that deal with elements that you don't typically see in a Dengeki Bunko light novel, and it's a pleasant change of pace from the more supernaturally charged action shows that we have. And right after 86, we have a show that seems to lean towards the other direction. Far from the gritty, war-torn world, we come across a world of fantasy and the bizarre. A world where vampires and magic exist and make up the core foundation of our series. Vanitas surely lends a lot of its appeal to its very eye-catching world and visuals. There's also the sublime music and overall atmosphere that the anime team managed to get. However, I feel that its strongest point is in its handling of the characters. Coming with their own air of mystique, the characters just develop and flow so smoothly with one another. The action's not as high octane as you'd expect from an action series, but I'd say that if you're looking for a supernatural series with a strong sense of mystery and drama, Vanitas will be your cup of tea. Now, this one took me by surprise. It's a late addition to the current season's roster, debuting at the tail end of November. Super Crooks has thoroughly entertained me in its 13-episode run, and I didn't expect to be entertained as much as I did. Based off comics from the creator of Kick-Ass, Super Crooks is a superhero anime that deals quite heavily with the duality of good and evil. You know those Western titles where the heroes are the ones causing destruction on their way to serving justice? Oh, and have a cast of thieves while you're at it too. Yeah, it does have some elements of those, along with a style that reminds me of Great Pretender, understandably. Super Crooks has that whole Bacano and Amazon Prime series The Boys vibes. Maybe Gangster too if you've watched it actually. Is it as good as they are? Personally, I don't think so with Bacano, but that's not a knock on Super Crooks. Looking at Super Crooks as a series, it provides a good amount of action, tension, and a cast of characters for you to empathize with. If you're up for something that looks different from the traditional anime fare with just the same amount of excitement, you should definitely give Super Crooks a shot. In third place is Tokyo Revengers. Did anyone say high-octane action? Well, gangsters, time travel, and brutal fights are what you'll get out of Tokyo Revengers, and then some. If you're up for edgy characters, some good old-fashioned violence, and a deja vu of Erased or ReZero, then you're in for a treat with this one. Tokyo Revengers is what you'll look out for if you want an action anime that gets your heart pumping consistently. The premise didn't really sell me much at first, and the inconsistent speed at which events happen played a big part in me sticking with that opinion early on. But once I bought into it, I'd say that Tokyo Revengers really deserves to be one of the shows we remember 2021 for. What I appreciate about Tokyo Revengers is how it maintains a certain consistency with its tone. It holds tension very well and doesn't have those mistimed comedic segments that a lot of shonen counterparts have. So for me, that, in addition to the charismatic characters that you can't help but empathize with, is the main strength of the series. The story is a joy to follow all the way to the end of the anime. While I wouldn't crown this anime of the season by any means, following Tsukimichi's growth through his struggles made for a very entertaining watch. Second place is Mushoku Tensei. Granddaddy of Isekai or not, one thing's for sure. Mushoku Tensei is a show that was crafted with exceptional care by the anime team, and we can let the results speak for themselves. Unlike a lot of Isekai or light novel adaptations that were plagued by cut content or outright weird decisions by the anime team, Mushoku Tensei manages to be a decently paced show that captures the essence of the source material very well. It didn't come without its controversy, and I think that it's by far the most polarizing mainstream hit that we have right now. It's not controversial in a meme way that Interspecies Reviewers was, or something like The Detective Is Already Dead, where the controversy squarely leans towards the negative side. Amidst criticisms, Mushoku Tensei ends up being a generally entertaining watch with an excellent foundation in world building, but I do agree that it's not for everyone due to some sensitive content. The world building's great, the action's cool, and the characters surrounding Rudius are mostly genuinely interesting people that I do want to know more about. The show is a testament of passion's effect on a product, and amid mass-produced McDonald's tier adaptations of otherwise good novels, it stands out as probably the standard bearer for the isekai genre for years to come. Because, come on, you think the isekai train will be ending anytime soon? Pfft, I don't think so.
私の使命は歌でみんなを幸せにすること。
Topping our list is Vivi. Will people agree with me putting it above Isekai King, Mushoku Tensei, or mainstream blockbuster Tokyo Revengers? I mean, I personally think that Vivi can make a very strong case for the best action anime of 2021. Take all the elements you want from action anime, like the spectacular fights, the smooth animation, the hype-inducing music, and add in the magic element of strong character development and themes that make us second-guess ourselves. It's a lot more profound than a lot of sci-fi action shows, and I really enjoyed that element of it. It constantly kept me engaged with question after question all the way to its spectacular ending. Admittedly though, I also think that expectations played a part in me being blown away by Vivi. Coming into the season, I didn't know what to think of it, other than it seems strange that ReZero's creator dabbles in sci-fi. Still, I feel it more than manages to stand in its own right as the best action anime this 2021. So, which was your favorite action anime of 2021? I'm excited to hear about your thoughts, so make sure you make full use of the comment section. For those who liked what I did with the video, you can head over to the rest of my channel and pick up a video that you might be interested in. Memberships are also open with perks that you might be interested in too, and so is my Patreon in the description box. It's been a great time looking back at some of the best action hits the anime world has given us this year. Truly, it's the start of a new era, and I'll be looking out for more, and I hope that you'll do the same. Till next time.